Namaskar friends, I welcome you back to video 5 of week 8. During this video session, we'll be discussing about typed versus handwritten documents. Yes, how medium shapes expression, authenticity and linguistic identity. Friends, when the medium changes, but the writer remains same. Today, we'll explore a very interesting question. Does a writer remain the same when they switch from handwriting to typing? You must be curious, no? Friends, at the first glance, the answer feels obvious. But in forensic linguistics, we discover that the writing medium changes behavior, rhythm, and even emotional tone. Yes, stylistic identity continues to show through. Friends, understanding these medium based shifts is very essential for authorship analysis, forgery detection, and document verification. We need to focus on how handwriting reflects spontaneity and cognitive flow. Because handwriting captures spontaneity. It records hesitation, emotional rhythm, pressure, speed, and natural imperfections. When someone writes by hand, they reveal their real cognitive flow. We see impulsive word choices, unedited mistakes, natural pacing, and personal flourishes. On the other hand, handwriting usually contains more emotional leakage because writers feel less formal and less monitored. This makes handwritten document excellent sources for psychological and linguistic insights. Let's understand how typing reflects structure, planning, and edited thought. Friends, typing allows greater planning and revision. Writers delete, rearrange, and restructure ideas more easily. Typed documents often show fewer spelling errors, more formal tone, and more deliberate phrasing. Because typing encourages editing, the resulting text may mask spontaneous linguistic habits. Forensic linguists must therefore go deeper, looking for stable features such as function words use, preferred syntactic structures, and rhythmic consistency. Let's understand what kind of changes we find between handwriting and typing. Friends, several behavior shifts occur when a writer changes the medium. Handwriting tends to show shorter sentences and simpler structures, whereas typed writing often becomes complex, formatted, and layered. On the one hand, handwriting shows emotional immediacy. Typing reflects analytical control. But crucially, the core linguistic markers like preferred connectors, habitual grammar errors, sentence rhythm, lexical tendencies, these all remain the same. And these stable features become the anchor point for the authorship analysis. So, a question must raise in your mind that what stays the same across mediums then? Friends, certain linguistic traits are resistant to change. This includes function word preferences, habitual spelling patterns, specific grammatical constructions, typing transitions, and overall coherence style. These features persist whether the person writes on paper, types on a keyboard, or even sends digital messages. This continuity is what allows forensic experts to link handwritten notes and typed letters or emails. Now, a question should raise in your mind that can this medium switching be used as a clue in forgery or disguise? Friends, forensic investigators often encounter cases where a suspect attempts to hide authorship by switching mediums. For example, someone known for handwriting may submit a typed confession, or someone who usually types formal emails suddenly produces a handwritten threat note. Medium switching is a common disguise technique. But while the medium changes, the linguistic fingerprint remains stable enough to expose the disguise. Typed documents like anonymous notes often reflect strategic language use. Writers try to sound older, younger, more educated, less educated, angrier, or calmer than they truly are. And these are the issues where it becomes a challenge for investigator in typed documents, especially in criminal investigations, that whether these are deliberate constructions or genuine language. This performance leaves linguistic clues. When someone artificially lowers their writing level, they leave behind inconsistent syntactic patterns. When someone attempts formality beyond their natural ability, they misuse complex vocabulary. Friends, linguistic analysis cuts through the performance. Now let's talk about handwritten documents, where we can find natural emotion, truth leakage, and stability markers. Friends, handwritten documents reveal truth unintentionally. People rarely maintain disguise while writing by hand because the physical effort reduces conscious monitoring. Writers fall back into natural linguistic habits. This makes handwritten suicide notes, personal letters, and anonymous messages rich sources of psychological insight. On the other hand, irregular punctuations, natural phrase repetition, and emotional markers become evidence of authenticity. Let's understand with a case example where linking a handwritten note to a typed complaint. In one investigation, an employee submitted a typed anonymous complaint. Around the same time, a handwritten threat was found in the same department. Stylometric comparison revealed shared linguistic patterns, identical misuse of certain prepositions, similar function word distribution, and unusual sentence openings like "as per my understanding." These stable linguistic features expose the same author despite the medium was different. In another case, a suspect usually communicated through neat, formal typed emails. But during a conflict, a sloppy handwritten note appeared, attempting to mimic an emotional outburst. yet the knot contained consistent lexical patterns from the suspect's formal writing, including rare vocabulary choices. As a result of that, the court recognized that the medium was changed to create emotional appearance, but the linguistic identity remained unchanged. Now, let's talk about how we see typed versus handwritten documents in legal settings. Courts evaluate both types of documents differently. Typed documents are seen as intentional and deliberate, whereas handwritten documents are considered expressive and spontaneous. Friends, linguistic analysis helps determine whether a person actually wrote or not, whether emotional authenticity is present, whether a disguise was attempted, and whether linguistic behavior aligns with the alleged author. The medium tells investigators about writer's intent, emotional state, and level of control. The message reveals linguistic identity and stylistic patterns. Only when both are studied together does authorship become clear. Friends, medium analysis is therefore not secondary. It is an integral to the forensic process. Friends, understand this. The medium influences the message but does not control the writer. Writers can change their tools, but they cannot fully change their linguistic identity. I am sure that you must have lots of insight through this video regarding typed versus handwritten documents. I thank you all for joining me on this video while we are walking through the forensic linguistic course. In the next session, we'll explore linguistic variation in question documents, examining how region, education, gender, and cultural background influence writing patterns and how these patterns become investigative clues. So until I catch you in the next video, please stay tuned to the course. Till then, thank you very much. Namaskar.